I found out I was undocumented because I went to get my driver's license at the DMV. They said I couldn't get it.
Built your realtor business, which bled over and helped you build your real estate portfolio, and then also FI investors as a coach.
I closed on a property, or I helped a family buy a home, is more what is the story behind that. We've always done it with referrals, people that support us, and people through social media.
That is something that people should put their pride aside. If you really want to do something,
the top producers are the ones that are attracting other agents because they see the values.
Maybe you want to be a sponsor, or maybe they want you to join a business venture with them or jump into a deal with them. You're stripped of all your money, all your success, and your entire community. Welcome back to the WealthJuice podcast. As always, it's your boys, Ryan and Corey, here with another episode. We are out in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona for Immersion Season 3. Shout out to the Growth House and Jesse Ray. Today, we are honored to bring on our good friend, Diego Corzo. For those listening, he has been on our show 2 or 3 other times. We've talked the evolution of his personal life, his professional life, and today we're going to dive into how to leverage your active income to invest in real estate and talk about all the fun things he's currently doing. So without further ado, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to finally meet you in person, Diego.
Yes, finally a pleasure. And it was funny because I saw you guys and I was like, okay, which one's Ryan, which one's Corey? Because I see you guys all the time together and I didn't know the name. So finally, good to meet you.
Likewise,
Ryan
man.
and Corey.
You got it.
Right.
Yeah, it was funny. We actually woke up today and I was just like about to go to the gym or go for a run or something. We had a couple hours till a podcast and I walk out and I just see you posted up on the beach chair, legs crossed, dialing, like locked in on a call.
Yes.
I think you were negotiating some like $30,000 or $40,000 like lease scheduling. I'm like, dude, you're killing it. You're like, oh, dude, I was here since midnight. And so you're basically, my story is entrepreneurs never sleep. You got in last night at midnight, woke up, you were grinding before we even got up. So I just think it's funny, man. It was a great way to start the day for us. See your shining face in person and good to meet you. So I will say, let's dive into, catch us up to what's going on now with you. I mean, you can, if you want to give someone maybe like a brief 30-second, who you are, where you're from, and like catch us up on all of that for those who haven't listened to the previous episodes. Then we'll get into what you're doing now.
Yeah, so real estate investor. I consider myself now a real estate entrepreneur, just as my transition has been from being starting first as an investor, then a realtor, then owning different companies, and then becoming a real estate coach with FI investors. And in a nutshell, I am a dreamer, and I'm an immigrant, basically, right? Coming from Peru, where my story is basically, I came from Peru when I was 9 years old with my family. At age 15, I found out that I was undocumented because we came with a tourist visa. I found out I was undocumented because I went to get my driver's license at the DMV. They said I couldn't get it. At age of 18, as I'm graduating high school, I found out I couldn't qualify for student loans or financial aid. At age 19, I found out I couldn't legally work in the U.S. So all these obstacles, and I always figure out a way. Got into college, though, and still paid for it. Even though I won scholarships, they were taken back. I was still able to find a way. I created my own company because I found out people couldn't pay Diego Corzo, but they could create my company. So I was working as a contractor. At 21, and I know I'm just going, but at 21, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I decided that I wanted to build wealth in real estate somehow. It wasn't until I reached 22 that I could finally work and drive. At 23, was able to buy my first house, and that was when I also met a group of millionaires that became my mentors. Became financially free at 26, millionaire by 29, and now that I'm 34, I became a multimillionaire by 30. So that is my thing, and I'm still undocumented. I'm still a DACA recipient, a dreamer. Thankfully, I'm one of the most successful dreamers in the U.S. as well, which is super big blessing. But it's also work ethic. Like you saw me, I got here at midnight. At 6, I was on the phone, and I was invited to the White House last year, which we did a video on that. And now my portfolio consists of 66 doors. And as a realtor, I have a team that sells around 100 million, and recently now working with Realty of America. So in a nutshell, that's what I do.
That was perfect.
Yeah, that was great. I think for people listening, what is your excuse kind of? And I say this to myself almost, like, what is your excuse for not building something big? We're sitting next to somebody who has had obstacle after obstacle after obstacle and overcame them and is doing amazing things. So we're blessed to have another conversation with you, this one in person. I want to focus on what we talked about with your active income. So you built a real estate portfolio, you're still growing that, but the reason you've been able to do this is because you've made significant income as a realtor. And we're going to get into Realty of America and your new venture now with that. But I'm very curious on how you built your realtor business, which bled over and helped you build your real estate portfolio, and then also FI investors as a coach. So talk to us about the process of building up your ability to get more leads and find more people to buy property and you sell to them.
Yeah. So it's interesting because at the end of the day, I realize, and you guys, as you guys know, my story too is like, I'm always surrounding myself with people that will shorten the gap, right? So, and this goes for any realtor, or anybody that wants to basically gain a skill faster. I reached out to the realtor that was helping me buy my first house in Austin, Texas, but I ended up not being able to qualify for a loan. Got lots of no's, and but I felt bad because 2 weeks before closing, I had to tell him, hey, I couldn't get the loan. I feel like I wasted your time. I'm pretty good with tech. How can I help you? So I began to help him a little bit, and then we became good friends. So then I was like, hey, can I drive you around on the weekends for free? I just want to see what it's like being a realtor, showing homes, talking to clients. He was like, free chauffeur for a weekend or two? I'm in. So he said yes. I would drive him around or schedule the showing, stuff like that. And he became my mentor. Fast forward to 2015. So that was in 2014. 2015, I quit my job at General Motors, where I was working full-time, and I went into real estate as a realtor full-time. Now, that is important because what you were saying, what was the journey that helped me scale is I met a mentor, right? And I connected with him. And then I basically work for free in the beginning. And as I got more and more knowledge, as I began to also execute the stuff on my own, and here's the thing, sharing it on social media, but sharing the story, not hey, I closed on a property, or I helped a family buy a home, is more what is the story behind that. That caught the attention of other people. And then by me doing it, when I bought my first house hack, for example, that got the attention of me helping other people at General Motors of them wanting to house hack, for example. So in the beginning, the first leads that I was getting were people like myself in their 20s that were wanting to live for free because that was my story. And then I began to sell homes to many people. That then later led to me increasing my business. And what's interesting about this is that we haven't spent money on the marketing side as a real estate team. We've always done it with referrals, people that support us, and people through social media, which not many teams can say that they've sold over 100 million with no money on marketing.
It's brilliant. And what the key thing that you mentioned there was finding a mentor. And we have a coaching program. You have a coaching program. Now, the ability to go out and actually pay to skip steps. And you can do that. And it's not just to skip the steps, but it's to get in the rooms with people who have done it, who can introduce you to the next person who can help you on your journey. But I also wanted to talk about, even before that, let's say, if you want to pay for mentorship, it can be a guaranteed way to skip the steps, but the ability for you to work for free. I did this in a different aspect of my life. I wanted to coach basketball, and I was like, I'll volunteer. I'll coach for free. The person that I volunteered to coach for just happened to be a multi-millionaire who built the company and won the successful basketball brand. And now he's somebody that if I called him right now, he's picking up on the first ring because of the relationship I built. And so I only share that to say, like, the people that are afraid to work for free or put their ego ahead of like the end destination, I think are looking at it the wrong way. And you can work for free at 16, you can work for free at 42, you can work for free at 59 if it's something that you want to get into. And I think that is something that people should put their pride aside. If you really want to do something, offer your services, figure out how you can fit in and find value for free. Or now it's even easier with mentorship, and you can pay to get in the rooms with people that you aspire to be like. And I think it's brilliant. So I commend you for that. I want to talk about Realty of America and the new venture that you're on, where you've built. I'll speak for you because you may not say this on camera, but you've made a significant amount of money as a realtor. Like, and that has fueled your investing. But now you've created sort of a new partnership where you have an ability to get other realtors to kind of collectively work together and scale together. I'm probably not doing it justice talking about it. So
good.
just give us, what is Realty of America and how does it work?
Yeah.
And why did you decide for this to be your next venture?
Yeah. It's really important to know that as people hear the 2 or 3 podcasts that I was in, it's been about the journey on my real estate investing journey. As a real estate investor, from building my portfolio to around 66 doors, multifamily STRs, then my condo in Puerto Rico, all of that stuff. But it all started with my first one, which house hacking, right? But the part that I don't share as much is what got me the income to buy those properties, to build those relationships, to be able to partner up with people. And that was my realtor business. I believe that if you have if you are able to build a money machine, you can make really good income that then you put that into investments, right? Into buying assets. And what I did is I chose being a realtor as my main thing. And it led me being a mentee. Then that led to being a business partner. We grew that business as that real estate team to now 17 agents. We've been the number 1 team at our Keller Williams office for the last 4 years, since 2020. And this year we were number 1 every single month up until August. In August we left, and we left it to partner up with a new company called Realty of America. That new company, we have been working on it for a few months with the main, like the CEO, the president and everything. And what's interesting about that is that it is the top producers. The top producers is what is attracting so many agents into this new company. And we launched on September 13th on stage at a real estate conference with 2,400 agents in different states. But the cool part about this is that the top producers are the ones that are attracting other agents, because they see the values of those top producers and they're like, hey, if he's in, I want to be in. And so now this company, Realty of America, it is a revenue share company where agents can get income as they're attracting other agents into this company, so that they can get the training, so that they can basically learn how to make more income as a realtor. Agents will also get stocks of the company, and they are able to, as they're selling, they will be able to create stock so that when we go public in about 3 years, we can capitalize on those stocks. The benefit of this is getting in early into a company like this, because of one of my mentors, David Osborne, his mom, for example, was the 7th agent at Keller Williams, which is insane. So she's the top profit share per realtor in Keller Williams. Now, when I told him about this, I was like, hey, I feel like I am the Althea Osborne at this new company, since we're so early on. And it's going to be, for me, I saw it as a great opportunity, because now I get to basically pour into agents, because I have so many agents that have reached out throughout the years on, hey, how did you do this? You're succeeding. I want to learn more. Now it's more of a, hey, I can teach you, because we're going to be open in all 50 states. I can mentor you, and we can help you increase your income. And as you're attracting other agents for your success, we can help you as well grow your revenue share.
Awesome. I love it. So I want to ask you this. So as you kind of climb in the game, right, and elevate to the next level, there's a lot of opportunities that come up, right? A lot of handouts, and people start DMing you to, maybe you want to be a sponsor, or maybe they want you to join a business venture with them or jump into a deal with them, right? So my question is, how did you decide Realty of America was going to be your next move? I know Corey just asked you that, but the reason I'm asking this is, the part B of this question is, when you go to vet out an opportunity, is it just you vetting this opportunity, or are you now bringing this to your mentor and like a pool of mentors to vet out the pros and cons? Because I think, and I'll leave it at this, like, I think if you're just doing this yourself, it's easy to fall into shiny object syndrome and just say, yes, like if it sounds like the money's here, this sounds great. I'm curious on like the vetting process you go through when you make a decision, because this is a big leap for you, and it's the next, it sounds amazing to be at the ground floor, but it's unconventional from other things, and people sometimes get scared of unconventional.
Yeah. Yeah, they do get scared of unconventional because some of those things, and I was reading something that a friend sent me, is that there's a price to pay. Like to be that level of, like in a couple of years, when I'm like, holy crap, it was a good decision or it wasn't a good decision, right? When I look back, it's going to be like, what was the price that we had to pay to go through this unconventional path of being somewhere in the ground floor, being somewhere in the beginning where things can be a little uncertain, but the vision is so big and the people behind it are so good at what they do that we will go through those hurdles, right? Like we will be able to get over those hurdles. And I feel like as we grow, it's a level of we're working with the people that we want to work with. The values and the mission of those people of wanting to leave a legacy and doing things not just for us, but wanting more out of life. That is what attracted me, because I know of the other revenue share brokerages, all of those companies, but it wasn't until, and I've been approached dozens of times, and I always say no. But this one was one that I said yes on the spot because of the vision of what it can be, and also because of the people behind it. And having that is more important, so that when you say yes to things, you know that you have that confidence. And I feel excited. And it's interesting because now I went through a phase of like, okay, now I can go to Puerto Rico once a month. I'm like, I'm good. I'm still there for my team, but I'm doing this. Now I'm going back and I'm like back working a lot, but it doesn't feel like work because I'm like building this and I'm excited. That is where, if people can be there to pursue their passion and their purpose, which now I feel like I'm doing between FI Investors and Realty of America and the Nino team, I feel like I'm good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm wondering about your like entrepreneurial journey, and I'm wondering if you can find a point, or not a point, but like a common theme with people that you've surrounded yourself with, the people that you said yes to. Is there a trait or a part of their character or something that you find is common that you've seen as in other successful entrepreneurs who are doing the same thing? I say this kind of selfishly, or for us and people that are listening, like, how do you know when you're meeting the right person? And maybe it's not just one conversation, right? You said you said yes on the spot, but I'm sure that was from knowing these people for once they approach you, you've known them for a period of time. So my question is, again, what is there a character trait, or can you pinpoint something about successful entrepreneurs that maybe divides the successful ones from the non-successful ones?
Yeah, I would say there is a level of, that's a good question, because I feel like there is a level of sacrifice that they had to go through and a level of growth that, hey, it's like, this is my story. And I like the stories of like the underdogs, considering myself an underdog, but it's like those levels of like, hey, this is where I was, this is what I did to make it happen, and these are the lessons that I learned, right? Because that's very important, is seeing how they've been able to do it and the lessons that they've learned, so that we know because there will be mistakes or issues that happen just with any business, no matter what you do. It's like that we can figure out a way to make it happen. And I like that trait.
I love it. I think it's almost not semi-underdog mentality, right? A lot of people, Corey and I were talking about this. We did a bunch of podcasts yesterday, and there's a common theme. Like, everyone seemed to have a chip on their shoulder for some reason. There's an array of answers here of like why people do what they do, what gets them out of bed every morning. But there was a common trait of like the high performers and like this intrinsic fire that's within you. And, clearly we know what yours is. We've gone through this in a couple episodes, and like you've come from a place of, I guess, like heavy adversity, and you've overcome it time and time again, which is amazing. So I guess my question for you, and it's a two-parter, I'll start here, is, if today, 34-year-old Diego, you were stripped of all your money, all your success, and your entire community, right? If you're starting at ground zero, what would you do to build back up to where you currently are, or surpass where you are?
Yeah. I would say if I had the same skills, or if I was starting to start from scratch, I would focus on sales again, right? Let's say let's say I am put into a new place, but with the same knowledge, but in a new city and everything, I would continue to be like in sales. That's one thing. And building relationships. If you know how to sell and build relationships, you will be very successful. Because somebody asked me this, if you were to start from zero, what would you do? And I would be like, social media, marketing, and sales. For me, being a realtor, that's because what I know. If you ask this to my brother, for example, he will be like wholesaling all the way, right? But what I know being a realtor, I know that I can connect with people in a different way and be able to help them.
Awesome, man. I should have asked this prior, but speaking of Realty for America, can you talk about what's different about it? I mean, we touched on the revenue sharing, but there are other brokerages that do that. Can you touch on the nuance for Realty of America? Because there may be people listening who are starting out in their real estate investing journey and also thinking about getting their license and parlaying the two of those similar to you. And there's an opportunity for, at Realty of America for them to learn from somebody who's mastered their craft. But it's different. It's not the same as joining a normal brokerage. Not normal, but So what is different about Realty for America?
Yeah, Realty of America is one of the companies that it is being created by the top producers, because we have people coming on, moving from different companies, that is not just new agents that we're attracting or agents that have done 10 deals or anything, but it's agents that have sold 100 million a year or 300 million. We have one guy that has sold almost $1 billion. And all of these people are wanting to work with those kinds of people. So when we say this guy said yes, be like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to connect with that person. I'm going to say yes and do it. So we have that going for us. And then the people behind the tech and the people behind the onboarding, the technology and all of that stuff are it is a couple, Dr. Peter Noble and Aaron Noble, and they've come from EXP. From EXP, they went to Real, and then now they're coming in as they are owners of the company now as well. And so now they've done it twice, working with two public companies twice, and now they're here to build this one. And for us, it's like all of the lessons that they learn at EXP, the lessons that they learn at Real, they're going to be applying all of that in building their third one where they have actual ownership and going to take it public.
I love it. That's a great answer. And I think it's really cool. I've talked to a few agents, and this is just kind of like over my time of interviewing people. And I heard Compass was great in terms of their technology and to really like setting up the email automations and things just to keep people kind of up to date with information. We know that once you get like kind of pulled into the cycle, the customer journey, some people can get easily lost if CRM's not up to date, your agents aren't trained on how to keep in touch with people, stay top of mind. I think one of the common themes we've heard from you and then also from some of the other gentlemen we've interviewed is like when you're starting at ground zero, and I'm bringing it back to my previous thought, is all people have said you start in marketing and sales and networking, right? Marketing, sales, networking, and building the relationships, because we've learned that the world revolves around community and relationships, and to shorten the gap, as you mentioned, it's kind of finding who versus how. And I think it's really important. It's so interesting. Corey and I, like, we've built a couple different businesses, and a lot of the times we're like, how have we seen like success early on in the beginning? And then where do we find our stopgap? And a lot of the times what we're really good at is we found the marketing and sales aspect. Like we can put two and two together and make it happen and make money out of nothing, right? So we've started our coaching program just out of necessity of people reaching out to us. And then what we've kind of found, like we're reaching a bottleneck of, well, we have people incoming, and then if they're not ready right now, it's like, how do we keep in touch with them? And so the next iteration, we talked to Cody Barton yesterday, and he is a complete integrator and the back end system guy. And he's like, listen, most people, they stop and they just muscle their way through the marketing and sales their whole life. But at some point you need to scale this thing. You need to have the operational side and start hiring people and putting the right butts in the right seats to offload tasks. So it's just interesting. I just wanted to highlight that again, whereas like most people that are listening, if you can get a robust network around you, you can show value, you can provide free value to other people, and you're good at cultivating relationships, putting yourself out there, and marketing and sales, like building a personal brand, a digital resume, that's what's made all three of us successful. And we figure out the operations on the back end. There's always ways to tweak it. So I just wanted to bring that up because you answered very similarly to how everybody else was too. And there's something to that. So marketing and sales, we're realizing in 2024, building a social presence and getting yourself out there and your story that you mentioned. It's not about the success you saw. It's explaining your DACA journey and what you've been through. Like, people latch onto that, man. People can resonate with that. They're like, it's an underdog story, but it shows what's possible if you really put yourself out there and just grind and figure it out. And I think maybe the main theme here is surrounding yourself with the right people. I mentioned this a couple podcasts ago when we had you on, but I read the book Tribe of Millionaires. I don't know how I got looped into it. I think it was maybe like an Instagram ad or something. And I thought the title was sexy. And I was looking at GoBundance. That's what it was. And it was one of the books. And I read it and I'm like, Core, dude, I just read this book. It was super short, but it was awesome. And I'm like, we just got to continually get ourselves around the right people. And we had started the podcast really early on. And it was like, it kind of validated to me we're doing the right thing. I'm like, dude, if we can just get more people that are successful and better than us around us, we're going to elevate to their level. Funny enough, you were in the story and they shared your story. And I believe even your photos at the end of the book. And I was like, oh, look at this guy, man. Like, he killed it. And then shortly thereafter, you came on the podcast. I was like, dude, I just read a book about you. Yes. And it was the coolest thing. So just a personal like anecdote there. Like, it's really cool now to be in the room with a gentleman that you read your story. We've become friends. And it's a blessing to share the stage with you, man. So thank you for joining us and sharing all of your journey. I know this is like the fourth time we've talked, but I feel like I learned something new every time.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Last question from me. We're out here in Scottsdale. Ryan mentioned as we did the intro, but I'm very curious on why immersion, why you have connected with Growth House and Jesse, and like what you feel. Why is it important for you to be here?
So, Jesse, to give you an example, I believe that everybody has an unfair advantage, and the unfair advantage that I pinpoint that Jesse has is being a connector. I'm a connector to one extent, and he's a connector to like freaking ridiculous, where he can bring people from all over to come and spend a weekend here. And if people see value in being a connector to other people. The reason why I was in the book Tribe of Millionaires, right, is because I got the value that I brought to that group is that I did introduction calls with every new member that was coming in, and I connected them with other people. Jesse's unfair advantage, and this is superpower, is being a connector. And by coming to events like these, I feel like people are coming here that are genuine. People are coming here that have the same values that Jesse has. And then it's just a matter of building relationships, because you never know where a conversation is going to go. And it can be a conversation at 10 a.m. It can be a conversation at 5 p.m. or it can be a conversation by the pool at 10 p.m. You never know. And it's just coming to these events, because this will be my third one, where I come just trusting that the right conversations will happen and creating an environment where those conversations do happen. And it's aligning with the right people. And that's what Jesse has been able to build, I feel, with the Growth House and Immersion.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And I mentioned this, and I'm not sure if people are listening back to back to our immersion interviews here, but a lot of people have said the same thing. And it's not easy to get people in a room, but you can easily, I will say this, it's easy to pack a room with people, but to get the right people in the right room with high values, integrity, morals, and like they're all in their own lanes and super successful and high performers. But to get the collective group, and there was no egos in the room last night. Like even today, waking up and seeing you, like just seeing your smile, I was like, dude, like it's just so good to see you. And I already knew before being here that you were one of these guys. And for us, we pride ourselves in surrounding ourselves with the right people. And I think, as you mentioned, it takes one conversation, could be 5 a.m., 10 p.m., midnight, doesn't matter. That one conversation could make you the most wealthy person, in your entire sphere, right? So it's just interesting to us. We have now taken the next level of building our relationships. We've had our podcast since 2020. It's been a lot of virtual relationships. We met you 3 times, but the first time we met in person was today.
At 6 a.m.
It's 6 a.m. But like someone mentioned it to me yesterday, it's like it's rubbing bellies, shaking hands with the guys, and be like to feel the emotion and like get to know people. Just being in person is a different level. And so for us, it's like our next phase here. And I'm so glad we're here with you, with Jesse. Like my wife, I was texting her today. She's like, was it worth it? And I texted her, I was like, I finally feel like I'm where I'm meant to be. The right time, the right people. And like, I've grown, like, I feel like for the last couple of years, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but like, I'm not able to relate to the people around me anymore. And the only time I feel like that is my Wednesdays with Corey and when we're interviewing guys like you. And so to now bring it in person, it's just so validating and fulfilling. So I feel like passion and purpose, which you mentioned, like we're finding the intersection. So just a personal story from me to build off of what you said, like getting the right people in the right room, and you never know where one conversation can lead. It led us here to cross paths in person. So I'm just thankful, blessed to share the stage with you, man, and happy to be here.
No, same here.
So for people that are listening, if you can find your tribe, your people, and stay connected with them on a monthly basis, but then meet with them in person and collaborate. I read a quote the other day. It's like the people at the bottom and are competitors. The people at the middle and the bottom are competitors, and people at the top are collaborating. I think I butchered that, but it's very similar. Like once you get to an upper echelon, the people that really mean business and are good people will help you build your business like the way that they did. So I'm excited to see where our relationship goes. I know there's a lot of opportunity, and I appreciate you coming on. This is awesome to do this in person. So thanks for joining us today.
No, for sure. And if for anybody that does have questions about Realty of America or the FI investors as a community, they can just go to Real Diego Corzo on IG, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that they have.
Perfect. You heard it there first. Connect with Diego on IG. If you guys want a personal introduction, we're happy to make it as well. And thanks for tuning in.